Masha gave a brief introduction about who we are, but she didn't tell you all the stuff that she and I have done. We've done a lot. We've both had very long careers in lots of different places. Masha has lots of specializations in organizational development and has helped and trained many people in developing organizations. I also have some of that, and in addition to that, I was a career counselor in the United States for many years. About 10 years before I came here as a volunteer in Ukraine. And I've lived in Ukraine a while. So I really like Ukraine. I really like Ukrainians. I like you. So I decided to stay in Ukraine for a while. And now Masha and I are working together for this great company. So thank you so much. What I'd like to do is start just by talking. Let's just have a conversation. In your opinion, what is a job? When we think of a job, what is it?
Exchange.
An exchange? Okay, good.
Someone's ability to perform tasks.
Ooh, someone's ability to perform tasks, good.
Job position.
Yes.
Job position.
Like a job position, somebody can perform tasks, great. Anything else?
Hobby with good salary.
Okay, one moment. This lady and then this lady.
Hobby with good salary.
Help get a good salary, good, super.
Well-paid hobby.
Yes, a well-paid hobby, maybe if we're lucky, we're getting it's something.
Your skills or your dream inside.
Good, your dreams inside. You getting this, Masha?
Yeah.
Good, we got some great ideas. Miss.
And opportunity to reach some goals.
Opportunities to reach some goals. Hello, sir. Anyone else? All great answers. Yes.
The job is something that should be delivered on time.
Something that should be delivered on time. Excellent.
Otherwise, will be punished.
Otherwise, we're punished. Look, maybe, possibly, yeah. What could that punishment be? Maybe.
You can be fired.
Fine.
Slavery.
Slavery. Oh no. Terrible.
Yes.
Working for no reason.
Either fined or fired.
Okay. Good. Great. Anyone else? Like ideas about what a job is? Responsibility. Usually for pay, yeah? Hopefully, otherwise it's this other thing. We have a responsibility for no pay.
For slavery.
Then it's we're enslaved. That's really bad. Okay?
Fun.
I'm sorry?
Fun.
Fun. Hopefully it's fun. Ideally it's fun. Obligation, a social obligation, good. That's right. Societies are built on our work, yes?
But sometimes job is what you are looking for at the moment. It's your goal that you should attain.
Great.
Sometimes you're desperately for a job.
Looking for a job. Excellent, yes.
Looking for a job.
Great, very good, yes. To develop and work in a team, excellent, very good.
At the same time, maybe discovery and improve your skills, personal skills.
Increasing personal skills, excellent.
Opportunity to keep yourself busy.
Opportunity to keep yourself busy, hopefully for some pay, some zarplata, yeah?
Solving problems.
Oh, solving problems. Okay.
Opposing problems.
Opposing problems, okay. Sir?
Opportunity to study what patience.
Opportunity to study patience, yeah, for sure.
One said that the job is the best remedy to escape poverty, laziness, and bad morals.
Walter Scott said that?
Yeah, flaws, your flaws, personal flaws.
You knew that in your head? You had that quote in your mind? Amazing. Wow.
But it's not
Genius. Okay. How about a job interview? What's the when you go to a job interview? What are you trying to accomplish?
Just sell yourself.
Sell yourself?
I think that it's a process when we decide whether the company fits us and whether we fit this company.
Ooh, that's good. So it is not just we're asking somebody for something. It's an exchange. Yeah, we have a role of decision.
A kind of contract.
A kind of contract. Good. Anyone else?
Matching needs with your experience.
Matching needs with experience. Excellent.
Survey about company, about traditions, about etiquette, about culture.
Sure. Has any of you, or have any of you had the experience you went in for a job interview and you listened to, or you watched how people behaved in this company and thought, oh no, I can't take this job. Have you had that experience?
I have.
I have. I have. For sure. I walked into an interview, they were late. Yes, sir. You had this?
Yeah.
Or somebody was speaking on the phone.
Someone was I went to a job interview one time, and they kept me waiting for an hour and a half.
Really? Oh, I would have left.
I still did the interview, but I thought, how, imagine, like, if I say, oh, I'll be there an hour and a half, no company will take you, yeah? Okay, good. So we're examining the company, right? Okay. Now, this gentleman mentioned the word here before, and I want to come back to that. And that is the word problem. So often when people are approaching an interview or approaching a job, they're very nervous because they don't know what they feel like. I'm asking someone for some pay for doing something, yeah? I hope that they give it to me. I hope I'm the best one because I need money. Yeah, normal, right? But we get this mindset that they are going to give us something. Oh, in English we say, I don't know if it's the same in Ukrainian, give me a job. Do you say that? Dайте. You say it the same way? Dайте, yeah. Give me. We say it that way too in English. Give me a job. But really, like in the United States, when I coach people on this, when I coach students or professionals about this, I want them to begin to change their thinking about what a job is. A job, when you apply for a company, an organization, the company or organization has a problem. There is some problem that this company has, and they need someone who will fix it. I don't have anyone to keep my accounting. My money is not in order for my company. I need someone. I look for someone who can accomplish this, so I hire an accountant. I hire somebody who will demonstrate to me that they can fix my problem. All jobs, every job, is a problem that another person has that they need you to fix. So when we think about that, like this gentleman here said, you know, it's an exchange. You're looking at the company. You're seeing, right? What can I fix? It creates more of a, like you're looking at each other like this. Yeah? You have power in these interviews as well. And the power that you have is your ability to tell them how you can solve their problem. A company, an organization will hire somebody that they believe will reduce their problem in the best way and not cause any other problems. Yeah? So that's what they're looking for. So that's your task in a job interview. Now there's a strategy to doing that. Okay? And we're going to talk about that strategy here. But first, Masha wants to talk to you about these couple things right here.
Yeah, just finish writing. Correct. So when you come to a job interview knowing that there is a task to fix the problem that the interviewers have already introduced and have already laid on the table, you become a problem solver. And these are the questions that I would like also to all of us to discuss together, and you're free to express your opinion on that. What does job entail? As you enter the job interview, the room, there is always a question. We talked a little bit, like a minute before, how to sell yourself during the interview. However, becoming a problem solver, that's one of the priority questions. What does the job entail?
So let's do that. What are some examples of a job, an occupation someone might have? A teacher, great, excellent one. Editor, okay, let's start with teacher first. Let's start with teachers, then we'll come to editor. What does being a teacher entail?
Oh, yes.
What is involved? What are the zadani? What are the tasks for a teacher?
Multitask.
Multitask, like what?
Everything, you need to know everything except your, for example, subject that you...
Okay, knowledge of the subject.
Knowledge. You have to be psychologist, good one actually. Yes, because you deal with a lot of personalities all the time.
Okay.
They're all different. Yeah. You have to know how to deal with documentation because you have a lot of paperwork.
Have you organized?
Yeah. And well organized.
Good.
Because you're always in a schedule.
Okay. Good. Any other ideas about what a teacher? I know many of you in here are teachers.
First of all, you have to deal with educator, because you work with the young kids, future generation.
You need some people skills, yeah, to be able to. Good.
Psychologist.
A psychologist often. We use this term in English, empathy. Yeah, empathiczny, yeah. See? Something like that. Yeah. So you need to be able to empathize with your students, right? Your pupils. What else is involved in a teacher? What else is involved in that task? Anything else?
Very persistent and determined person.
Persistent and determined? Good. Okay. How about we go with editor? What's involved with being an editor?
Working with text, working with academic papers,
Working with
sometimes,
text?
reviewing this text.
You have deadlines.
Yes.
You have time. You have to keep aware of your deadlines, right?
I should be well organized, yes, because I mustn't miss deadlines.
Can't miss deadlines, right? Good. Anything else?
Do some theoretical research to maintain information, yes.
Good.
Fact checking is important.
Fact checking.
Because some authors ignore fact checking.
Right. Some jobs it doesn't matter. Some jobs it doesn't matter if you're very detail oriented. Yeah. That one is very important. Yeah. You have to know about the details in this, right? I'll tell you a story. Let me tell you, it's related to this and also being a teacher. I taught for a while in China. And you are going to laugh, I think, but Chinese students, in my opinion, cheat more than Ukrainian students.
How did you know that?
Oh, I'll tell you how I know what. So I saw them do it. I would see them. So I had a student whose English was not so great. It's okay. But she had to write an essay. And so it was a long essay. It was actually a research paper. So I'm reading this essay, and I read the first part, and I'm like, okay, she wrote that. Then I read this next part, and she's using grammar. Now, I have a degree in English. I'm a native speaker of English. I've studied English. I've been reading it my whole life. She's using grammar that I'm not sure of. I'm reading this like, I think that's right. I'm pretty sure that's right. I had to go check to see. Yes, she cheated. I knew it. There's no way that her level of English had jumped from this page, writing this way, to using semicolons, which are really complicated for native speakers. Yeah. So.
That's your proof?
No, I found the text that she stole it from. I found it. I did some research. They cheat even more than Ukrainian students.
A short note about IQ. It's considered that Chinese have the highest IQ, average IQ in the world. Africans have the minimal, like Mexicans.
Yeah, I think a lot of those things are cultural, so I'm always wary of exams like that. But yeah, the kids were smart. The kids that I taught were very, very smart. But they just would cheat sometimes. Okay, so, I'm sorry, Masha, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I want to answer the young man. Yeah, if you're a teacher, you don't need to check it actually, because you know the level of your student. And it's obvious is she at work or not. Really.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a wonderful discussion actually. Well, moving on to the next question that you should be prepared to give an answer or the information. What are the most important projects with that job that you are being interviewed for? What are those projects that have already been delivered within that organization, the projects that are at the stage of being designed or pre-implemented, and how you could possibly make a difference or make that project implementation better? Oh, what problems as well as opportunities, what problem opportunities exist within that company. So earlier we talked about doing a research or maybe survey, maybe surf the website of the company that you are going to interview for, and see what opportunities they are for growth, as well as what risky factors they are there that might turn into some complex situations. Okay, now we talked about the job. Now coming back to ourselves as problem solvers, there are a certain amount of qualities, abilities, skills and competences that we as professionals have to solve the problems that we have identified. So that's another question on the list of those priority ones to be prepared for. And yes, please talk about the strongest contributions that you have already made in your past careers, in your previous jobs, as well as which of those you can bring to a new organization. What is that skills transferring process that you're going to talk about? So the strongest contributions, those very short, powerful, wonderful, really impressive stories that impacted your career, that impacted your teamwork, and the projects that you have worked before.
So this is a reflective activity. If you are preparing for a job, you are applying for a job, you've seen something, an advertisement, where someone has told you about a job that you want to apply for, you should ask yourself these questions and write them down. Sit, think, and reflect about what these questions are and how you can apply. Yeah? Okay. Now, we're going to teach you a trick. A technique that you can use to prepare for your job interviews. I was taught this, I was trained in this, I have taught other people to use this. It's very, very effective, and it helps to reduce your anxiety. So, it's called using a power story. So, in a job interview, it's always most effective to talk about things that you have done in the past rather than things that you would do. So sometimes in a job interview they will ask you some question, oh, tell me about a time when you did. But they might ask you a question, tell me what would you do. If they ask you this, tell me what would you do, you still talk about the past. You still talk about something that you have done in the past. Now, the way you do this is you prepare these things called power stories. Power stories are a way to quickly explain to someone how you solve problems. Because that's what a job is, right? You're demonstrating how you solve problems. So this is a quick way. Because often what happens for people in interviews is that they don't prepare. Oh, I'll just go in and I will tell them, I will answer them. It's not the best approach. The best approach is to be prepared. But you don't really know what questions they will ask, right? Well, I don't know. What will they ask me? I have no idea. It's true. But you know that they want to hear about you solving problems. So if you prepare enough of these power stories and practice them, you have the ability to explain how you solve problems quickly. So their attention is there. So you don't lose them in, oh, and then one time I did this, and they fall asleep. It can happen. Yeah. You want to keep their attention. So you use this power story. So the power story has a particular technique. It has a style to do it. You prepare these. First, you write out a problem or situation in 20 words or less. You take time before the interview to write one of these. This is actually well before the interview. You should do this, begin to do this practice now. You Describe the problem that an organization had that you faced. You just describe the problem. Oh, and then one time there were lots of students leaving, and this is what happened, and right? 20 words, about 20 words or less. You then describe the action steps that you did to fix the problem. What did you do? Oh, well, we had this big problem. You write all that out. I did, and you write that in 20 words or less. And then you write the results. You write this. You spend time writing this. Before an interview, you should prepare. These are things that you should be able to do pretty quickly in your normal life, honestly. In the results section, you want to have a number. Some number. You can always find a number, believe it or not. How many people in this room are teachers? How many of you are teachers?
Yes.
Are now or have been, yeah? Many of you, right? And so as a teacher, sometimes you think, oh, well, I don't deal with numbers, I deal with people, right? I deal with kids or adults. You're dealing with numbers. Still, their level of knowledge increases, right? They get certain test scores and those change. How many students did you have? How much was the attendance? How much did the attendance change? You have numbers too. Everybody in their job. Artist. Is there anybody here who's an artist? You're an artist. What kind of art do you do?
Photographer.
A photographer. Deal with numbers? No? How many photographs have you taken?
It's hard to count.
1,000?
More, yeah.
A few thousand?
10,000 maybe.
Hmm?
10,000.
10,000! Have you published any photos? How many photos have you published?
Like, it's hard to count too.
It's hard to count how many photos you...
You mean like in magazine or newspaper?
Yeah.
I mostly publish online.
Online, super. How many have you published online?
Yesterday.
3 yesterday. And,
In your career, how many? A lot?
Yeah.
Okay, later. Try to think about it. Try to think about, you know, because I don't know what your career path is going to be or what you are choosing to do. If you're working for yourself, that's one thing, but...
Yeah, but if most of them, like, you just publish them, but the number doesn't say anything, whether you solve the problem or not. You just...
If you sell them...
Do writers solve problems?
Yeah, maybe if I sell the number, how many I sold.
It could be that, but it doesn't necessarily... How many clicks did you get? How many views did you get? How many downloads did you get? You have numbers too, depending upon, like, for example, let's say you say, okay, I've had this career as a photographer. I want to apply for, to work with some organization, some magazine, some service that provides photographs, something like that. They may ask you, well, tell me about your experience in photography. They'll certainly look at your work, but they may ask you some more questions, yeah? So you have numbers too. Anybody here a musician? Play an instrument? Yeah? Amateur? Okay, me too. Amateur? Okay. Nobody here is going for a profession in that, yeah? Okay, but what I'm trying to demonstrate is that we all have numbers. All of us. A person who works on construction also works in numbers. Lots of them. How many buildings? But you can do it. You write all this out. 60 words. Give or take. 60 words to an interviewer. Boring.
That's why they kept you an hour to wait.
Who's they?
You told about the interview.
Oh, because maybe they fell asleep. Yeah, the other person was boring. This is too many words. People's attention span is very short, at least in America. In America, our attention span is short. We're not talking about this today, but I'll give you an idea. The average resume, CV or resume, 5-6 seconds.
If not, it's a program.
Yeah. Well, if not, yes. If it gets to a person, that's right. If it gets to a person, 5 or 6 seconds. Oh, human resources man. Not yet. Yes. No. Right. That's what they're doing. Same thing with an interview. So, 60 words is too much. You need half of that. So after you've written this power story, you then convert it. You remove the problem, you take the results up front, so you write a new statement. You've written this out, now you're going to write a new statement. You put the results up front, followed by the actions, and you reduce it to 30 words or less. And that is your power story. It's a process. We don't start here. This doesn't work. You want to start here so you understand what you have done. You need to describe the problem first. And then go through these steps. And then get to this. Okay? Now, what that looks like is this. These are examples. For example, I increased revenue by developing 50% by developing a new marketing mix designed to target clients appropriate to our product. Number. Right? Student test scores increased by 20 points. Teachers, I didn't do one for a photographer. I wasn't ready for you today. Next time. $12 million, we increased $12 million in sales in our first year due to development of new internet application. See?
So you just say the result, you don't say what was the problem.
You reduce the problem. And here's why. Good point. What you want in this power story is for them to do this. Really? Tell me more. You did? How? Right? You're inviting them to be interested in you. Yeah? Tell me more. Then you can go into detail. Then you can explain, well, I did this and this and this. That's why in the previous slide you write the problem. Because you need to remember what you did. So, that's what power stories are. Okay. These are examples of power stories that you should have. You should, not one is not enough. You should do many. At least this many. Right? How many we have? 6? 6. At least 6. When you solve the problem, should have a power story about when you solved the problem. When you overcame a challenge. Tell me about a time you overcame a challenge. Oh, well, funny you ask. Maybe not funny you ask, but oh, I'm glad you asked that, really, because of this. When you made a mistake. Mistakes are part of life, yeah? I study your languages. I'm not doing that because of your language. Your languages are beautiful. But my ability in your language is not as where I would like. I make lots of obshivki. Lots of mistakes. So, I live in this country. I have to be accustomed to making mistakes, yeah? So, an organization is going to understand that. Like, okay, you make a mistake. How do you respond to your mistakes? Oh, well, this thing went wrong. What did you do? I gave up. I don't want you. Yeah? I don't want you. You just gave up. So I just said, let's go. Right? But if you explain, right? Okay, well, I did this and this. When you worked as a leader, right? Well, I had to lead a team and we did this. Well, with a leadership team of teachers. Right?
It's a leadership forum for businessmen.
For businessmen, maybe. When you worked in a team. Can you see I'm blocking this? When you did something interesting. So these are examples of the types of stories that you should have. You should have at least this many, but if you can have more, super. Now, we're going to practice that in a moment. You all are going to practice that in a moment. But I want to say something about that before you write it out. When you have these power stories written, you practice saying them. And you need to practice saying them so it sounds natural. If it sounds like you are, I have remembered. I remember, I did, and it, right? Not natural. I 50% increase in, and it looks like you're reading and you're, yeah? We do that sometimes. Oh, I'm trying to remember this thing. Like when we take exams in university, right? Oh boy. And then it was this, like we're reading it in our brain or our most, yeah? So, you want to be able to say it naturally. So you practice saying this. So, oh, the grammar changed a little bit, the words changed, it's okay, I still know the story. You're confident in here, you know this story. Like it's a story you told your whole life. So you practice speaking this, you practice these stories, and then, and it's amazing because you find ways, when you know these things, you go into these interviews much more confident, and you find ways to put these in there. Oh, tell me about a time, oh, well, I have this story, let me tell this story. You remember, oh, it's great. And even if you think, oh, this story won't apply, you will find a way to fit these in. It's really amazing once you know them. Okay, so, it's time.
Yep.
I'll start over here, and
Those are the action groups.
you're going to give these now?
Yep,
Done.
sure.
Okay, so, we're going to give you 2 handouts.
If you could take one and pass it down, please. Please take one and help.
Explaining the action. Short. But you put that number in the beginning. The results should be in the beginning. Good, thank you. You want to share yours?
Yeah.
Please.
I have activated team resources and satisfied 84 customers on a team building routing tour, evading the cancellation of an event and solving the problem with the location.
Okay, how many words was that one?
Less than 30.
Less than 30? Okay, super. Good. I increased this. Try not to have, you want to have one set of numbers. If you have more than one set, they can get confusing. Yeah? So that, if you have different numbers, that would be in a different power story. But good, thank you. Good. Good, excellent use of numbers. Anyone else want to share?
So just one number.
Try to have one number in each power story. One. Otherwise, then they're just hearing lots of numbers. Well, 12 and 13, and I don't 40%. Yeah, one. Ooh. Okay. I want to come back to your question really quickly because it's a bit important one. Why must I write the problem first? Why? Why? Why do you think? Why do I recommend writing the problem first, going to this step? Why do I say you should do this whole thing rather than just jump to this? It's a process, it's logical, okay. Anyone else?
It's key of discussion.
It's the key of the discussion?
To be ready to answer the questions from the interviewer at the end.
Right. They may ask you
What the problem was.
Yeah, tell me more.
But I meant that I can leave this story just in a few words, this problem. Because I remember it in my mind, yes, even if I wrote it with 3-4 words, yes, it was a problem like this, yes.
I mean,
I still remember it.
As a teacher, right, you know that students often want to do things the quicker way, right? They say, well, why do I have to do it that way? Because I don't need to, because I know that already. And often as teachers we say, well, right, well what would your response as a teacher be for those of you that are teachers?
You should have done this better, or
It will help you.
in a full amount.
The answer is it will help you.
It will help you. But why do I have to practice this? I know how to do this. Yeah.
We aim to have our speech like well structured, right? We have to use some numbers, which we definitely have to remember. We are recommended to use some verbs, yes, action verbs. So we have to get used to use it.
Yeah. It helps you remember. If you have just a couple words written, the interview asks you, okay, tell me more. And you have just the few words prepared maybe that you wrote out. And you forget some of the details.
Useful things that might impress the interviewer, perhaps, if you mention them.
This gentleman said it's the writing process, right, sir? It's a process to do these power stories. It's not just the end result of doing this, because otherwise I would have just given you this, right? Like when we teach, like if you teach students, for example, if you teach someone, or when you learn how to do something, you learn. Like I'm a musician, yeah, I play the guitar a little bit. I'm an amateur, but I play, right? I had to learn certain things. I had to practice certain. I have to practice. I have to. Okay, what's a note? What does that mean? What does a chord mean? I had to learn. I had to understand. Before I could play a song, I had to start to pick up and do certain things before. It's the process of learning it. So there's a process to doing these power stories. Like there's a process to writing, there's a process to doing a math problem, there's a process for taking photos. I know I keep going after you because right? There's a problem. There's a process for really everything that we do, and this is the process. Okay, so anyone else want to share a power story?
Sometimes they call it your achievements. Tell us about your achievements.
Right. Excellent. What's that an invitation to? Oh, well, here, let me tell you. I have well, maybe not like that, right? Oh, I have a power story prepared. Thank you for that. Here, yeah, thank you. Oh, I'd love to tell you about some of my accomplishments. In fact,
Yeah.
oh. Okay.
Right. So some of the accomplishments, as well as the result when the sentence that every interview starts with is, tell me about yourself. It's a great invitation to talk about achievements, the power stories and the results, but the very first sentence, this is how you would need to interact with the interviewers. It's basically a 2 or 3 minute powerful sentence. The sentence, the well-energized, well-structured sentence that you would also use when pitching your idea to the investors. So you would need to speak about your career, and we suggest an example like that, this upbeat statement that you've got a certain number of a successful career in the field of graphic design, or in the field of business management, project management, let's say 15 years in the successful career in project management field. You would also need to tell when or with what situation, with what event your career began, as well as since then, what followed afterwards. You have worked for companies, you have worked for organizations, and those could be ranging from different fields, like those that are working only in sales, or the organizations that are more in business, or and what type of business? Will it be business and operations, or maybe will it be business and agricultural sphere, or is it more on business and consulting? So what you enjoyed in those, what you enjoyed working when working in those companies, and also you think that you are a really good fit for this specific position that you are being interviewed for. Yes.
So this is what you should say.
Correct.
When they ask you, tell me about yourself, do they want to know about your pet?
Yeah.
No. Oh, the city that you were born in.
It depends.
They would probably ask you, tell me about your pet. That could help, actually. Sometimes people ask crazy questions, and we can talk about why they do that. In general, do they want to know about your pet? Oh, tell me about your, like you sit down, hello, great, nice to meet you. Oh, nice to meet you too. Tell me about your chihuahua. I don't have a chihuahua. Oh.
Your cat.
Tell me about your cat. Oh, my cat is named Fluffy. And I love Fluffy.
If I don't keep a cat,
Yeah, if you don't keep, right.
any pet.
Okay, so they generally don't want to know about your cat. Do they want to know about the city that you were born in?
No.
Sometimes,
Does
maybe.
Does it relate to this, based on sex, gender, or religion, discrimination or not? About where have you been born or nationality?
Well, actually, that's an interesting
So
question.
they are not using this type of question?
In the U.S., well, I'll tell you about that in the U.S. In the U.S., we have different laws, of course. We have different laws than in Ukraine. We have certain labor laws. So, for example, in Ukraine, you put your picture on your CV, yeah? We don't do that. Do you put your age on your CV? The year you were born here in Ukraine?
No.
Something related to your age?
Age, yes.
Like they ask you, yeah?
Yeah.
Not in the U.S. We don't put our ages on there. Now, you can kind of, okay, he graduated university in this year, so he's roughly this age, yeah? You can kind of guess, but you're not allowed to ask that. You're not allowed to ask if you have a family in the interview. Oh, do you have a family? Are you married? In the U.S., you can't ask that. It's against the law. So, a little bit different. Okay. Do they want to know about, like, your hobbies?
Yes.
Here? Really?
Your hobby is traveling.
Do they want to know that in the beginning?
No.
Actually, it's in the end of your CV or resume. It's in the end. Do you have a section in resume?
No.
Like hobbies, interests?
No. Mine doesn't.
Europeans.
Sometimes European CVs do. US we don't put those on.
I believe it depends on the person. If a person is a good psychologist, it may be helpful to know is the person fond of active hobbies or more passive or more patient, so it can be good.
Maybe.
Sometimes hobbies is very useful for company.
Possibly. Would they ask that in the beginning?
No.
Generally? When they ask this question, tell me about yourself, is that what they're looking for?
No.
First?
A hobby shows how passionate person.
Have you or not some interests
Yeah.
except work?
That's good. They may want to know, okay, are you a complete person? No, I just work all the time. Then you may be a little unhealthy. Yeah? I have no family, I have no pets, I have no hobbies. I'm all yours, yeah?
Yeah, but you're bringing a very good example. If a person is really skillful and does embroidery, so that means that might mean that the person, when he or she starts something, would work to the very end, so that there is a complete picture of what he or she has been working on.
A question like that is going to be at the end. In the beginning, they don't want to know really about, at least in international companies, they don't really want to know about that. They want to know what kind of professional you are and how do you, how do you solve problems. Right. So you are demonstrating that you are a problem solver. So this is what you say. Tell me, Miss, Sir. Tell me about yourself. Well, I've had many years, rewarding years doing this. And my career began, and you can tell something very briefly. Since then, I've worked for companies, organized from this company to this company. I really enjoy what I do. Masha, I'm sorry, I jumped into your space. And then...
Yes, and then, of course, you will talk about your accomplishments, summarize the skills that are related to the work that you are being interviewed for, and that is within one sentence for that position. Make it a very smooth ending. You can have a question. Is that the type of person you are looking for? Is that the type of a specialist you are looking for? And every time, your wonderful conversation with the interviewer should end on this thank you note. Thank the interviewers. Thank you, sir, for having the privilege, or for giving me the privilege of meeting and discussing the position.
At the end of the interview, we're not talking about that yet, but I'll just give you an idea. At the end of the interview, you want to invite them to talk again. I look forward to hearing from you. At least this is what Americans do, yeah? Thank you so much for the opportunity to interview with you today, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon. Right? Like you're hypnotizing them a little bit.
When exactly can I hear from you? Yeah, you cannot say that, but
You can say that sometimes, but you know, well, how soon? Yeah.
Will you call me tomorrow or the day after tomorrow?
I would be a little careful about that, but you can say how soon. You can ask that. How soon can I expect to hear? Sure. Questions about this? Tell me about yourself. So you want to have power stories prepared for this, right? Because you can insert power stories in there. These are your accomplishments that this lady mentioned earlier. Yeah. Those are your accomplishments. I want to hire, I know a number of you are teachers in here, the best teacher. How do I know this person's the best teacher? So, again, you are doing lots of things. All of you have done lots of things. Even if you haven't worked in a job before, I don't know, in a formal job, you've done lots of things. You've helped lots of people. People who do internships, people who volunteer, they do a lot. You all have done a lot. Even if you work at home and you take care of your family, that's a lot, really. That's a lot of tasks. You're a problem solver. So when you start to have these stories, it does a couple things. It empowers you in this interview. So you don't feel, oh no, I don't know what to say. That's often what happens. I don't know what to say. I have some stories ready. Who wants to hear my stories? Yeah. Some people are really, really great stories. My dad was a great storyteller, and I would watch him tell stories. And he was like that. Really, he was a really interesting guy. Wow, he's really good at that, yeah? Some people are natural. Some people are not. But you can look natural. You can do something called fake it till you make it. Yeah? Fake it till you make it. That actually comes from Alcoholics Anonymous, but we use it in lots of things, yeah? So you pretend to be a good storyteller, you practice this stuff, you do it enough times, and then it feels natural. It's like something you've done your whole life. Yeah? It just takes practice. So that's why we do that. I think we're going to have to skip the group thing. So what we'll do is, how about we go to this? Okay. This is an interesting question.
this is an interesting part of an interview. When you're posed with a question, do you have any questions for us? That's the time when you would say, yes, I would really appreciate if you could tell me what is the immediate need that you have on your team you are hoping to fill with this position? Or what is the teamwork style in your company? What projects can I contribute right away? Those skills that I can bring. The efficient ways that the team you're working with is encouraged or to use, how the teams are empowered to use those efficient ways. Who are those people who would be creating those? How does your organization define success? That's a wonderful one. And how do you describe a typical day on this team? You could hear the information like from the typical working day, like the working hours. However, there might be very wonderful specific situations for the team. Maybe there is a specific day in the company that the whole team gets together to do a week interview or to summarize, to debrief. And that's one of the mandatory routines. Right. Could you add some?
Choose one. They're not asking for all these. Let me give you some ideas about what this question demonstrates. The question that you asked us. It's you again demonstrating your interest in solving problems. Solving problems. What immediate need do you have on your team you're hoping to fulfill with this position? Hoping to fill. As an interviewer, that tells me, oh, you want to contribute. What you want to know how you can help right away? You're interested in solving my problem immediately. What projects can I contribute? Oh, wow, this person wants to. I have these projects that I think these things need to be done. and this person is interested in knowing what they would do. It's like a fishing lure. Yeah? Like you're going fishing and you're hanging some little tasty thing on a hook for them. To hook them. Wow, this person doesn't just think about, oh, what's this and how soon can I take a vacation? Yeah? Right? Can I take a vacation? If you hire me next week, can I take a vacation next month?
Medical insurance.
It's not really the time for that yet, yeah? This is where you're demonstrating that you're the best possible guy. And then after you get this, after you have a job interview, that's where you start the negotiation and all of that stuff. But you are again demonstrating throughout the interview how you solve problems. Even in the question that you ask for them. See? It's still turning it into that. Oh, now I have the power. I get to ask you a question. Yeah, but you're using like some judo and kind of turn them so that they realize, this person's really, really qualified, really interested in contributing. How does your organization define success? Because that tells me, oh, you're interested in what success looks like for us.
Positive thinking.
Right, so you want to be successful, you want me to be successful.
You're motivated.
You're motivated, right. And what does a typical day look like on this team? Describe the work. Oh, well, this is what we do when we come here and we work. Prioritizing tasks, right. Thoughts or feedback about this? Questions?
I would ask these questions in my natural language, like rephrase it for it to sound natural.
Sure,
because they
of course.
Might be a little bit, like it's in its style.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
Excellent point. You can rephrase that into your normal speech so it sounds natural, true. But these are examples of a brief question that you can ask, rather than not knowing, oh, and then, what's the weather like? What's the weather like tomorrow? That doesn't have anything to do with this job.
Yeah, it's better to have a question or two to ask your interviewers rather than not asking them at all.
Right.
Because that may mean that, well, you're not interested. Wonderful conversation, but probably you're not taking anything away from it. However, if you're putting a lot as well as you would like to hear, I really like this one on what's the typical day on the team. Like that gives a sign to the interviewer there. So the person is ready to work on a team, maybe ready to also to work independently. However, there is a certain amount of people skills that he or she is going to bring to us, to our team.
A couple bits of feedback about the interview process, and so before I was here, I was a counselor, so I would counsel people whether they were successful or not, and all of that. So I have a psychology background too. And one thing is, sometimes you don't have a good interview. It's a season. It's life. It happens. So you forgive yourself. Okay, I didn't do so well here. Okay. It's just life.
This is experience.
It's experience. And it makes you stronger for the next one. I had some interviews early on. I've interviewed so much. And I've had some interviews where I was really, really bad. Oh boy, I was really bad. Right? And then I go back, I reflect, I learned new techniques, I got to practice. Now I go in for interviews in the U.S. in education. They have interviews and they'll be like, you have a panel, a group of people. And so I haven't interviewed in the U.S. in a while, so I'll have to practice again when I go back. But I got to the point where, 10 people? Cool. Watch. And because I had practiced this stuff, I would have these, now these are other people who knew career stuff. And I would have them doing this. Leaning in. Leaning. Watching. Really, really watching. Because they understood, but they're seeing how I could do it. They knew I understood. And my attitude sometimes in these interviews would be, 1, 2, 3, 10. Cool. And in my mind I'd think, you should go get more people in here. But it's because I was practiced. And I knew that I had failed before, and I knew that the failure didn't kill me. So this failure wasn't kill you. Failure doesn't kill you, it just, you know.
Makes you stronger.
Yeah. Oh, meet you. So, yeah, it doesn't kill you. It's a learning process. You pick up a little bit of an injury here, you heal from it. You have a little bit of scar tissue, but the scar tissue helps protect you for the next one. Yeah. But this process is really, really helpful. Learning to, and write these down. Don't just think about it. Oh yeah, I kind of know how to do it, and then think that you will be able to do it in an interview. Write them on note cards when you're sitting somewhere waiting for someone to come get you. When you have some time, write them like when you were a student. Write them on note cards. Oh, it's kind of fun thinking about what I did. Keep a stack of it. Have about at least 6, I would say 10. Practice them. Practice speaking when you're alone, maybe, or in front of people. Right? Okay, I want to practice these interviews. I don't exactly know if all of this would work in Ukrainian language, but I know this definitely works in English. You practice speaking. You practice these stories. The stories become part of you. When someone asks you some questions, it's easy. It could also work in networking, right? Oh, you're at some job. Oh, some fair. Talking to people. Oh, I'm looking for. Oh, really? Tell me about yourself. Aha! Tell me about myself. Sure. Right? You're ready for it because you prepare this stuff. Okay. So we're not going to do. Personally, like, how do you feel about what we did today? Is it useful to you? Was it helpful to you?
I'm not sure.
What did you like? What did you not like? Please.
The main part in the interview successful is good preparation.
Sure.
But the part of the preparation is portfolio.
Sure.
Portfolio with diplomas, trainings, experience, recommendations,
Sure.
etc. This is like information for your speech, for your short.
You can use those things for that. Sure, certainly. Yeah.
Portfolio is the main part.
Sure. It's certainly an important part. Miss, you have yes.
I think I would like to hear more about reaching, like first contact, cover letter, and then
Okay.
resume.
Okay, so a topic different than what we did today, but you have another topic you're interested in.
For example, what do you think about more aggressive way to reach contact person? For example, not even HR department, but straight away your future manager.
We don't have time for that, but I'll give you something you could look up or consult with us later. Informational interview. Something called it. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, because I was doing basically that because where I'm living now, I have like very like not so many opportunities, and I need to use that tactic instead of just sending.
Right, networking. Can I recommend a book to you? It's a book, since we don't have time today, but I'll recommend a really good book for job seekers. It's really, in fact, the writer just died. It's called What Color is Your Parachute? Are you familiar with that book? Richard Bowles. I spoke at a conference one time and he was there. It was really cool. Like, oh, Richard Bowles is here.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's because it doesn't just speak about like what you should do, but it also talks about your feelings as you're I'm so disappointed, and it kind of counsels you through this book.